Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Well, today we'll sort of continue where we left off yesterday, even though we didn't know we were gonna. That's because now the presidency has responded to, if you want, something of a barb, the way it was seen, in saying that they actually handed over, that is the former President, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, saying that they actually handed over the economy in a sound condition. And yeah, they might not have totally eradicated corruption, but there's no gainsaying the fact that they actually handed over something of a strong economy. Now, it looks like the presidency has disagreed vigorously, to put it mildly. In fact, they went as far as saying that, you know what, you destroyed the economy and handed it over to us. So just sort of setting the records straight. Of course, each will seek to provide facts and figures to back their situation up. The main thrust of the case from the presidency is that, look, we experienced an oil boom. Oil went as high as $120 a barrel. And so there was something of a windfall. There is nothing, absolutely nothing, according to the presidency, to show for that. Doesn't matter where you want to look, just nothing. So hard words, gloves off. What do you think? Well, my guests this morning, Achike Chude, he's a commentator on public affairs and does analyze, indeed, public affairs. Thank you, as always, Achike, for coming on.
Thank you.
And Nelson Ekujimi, Comrade Ekujimi, he's a rights activist and a social commentator. Thank you very much, Nelson, for coming on. Good morning.
Thank you for
indeed.
having me.
I wonder how you gentlemen look at it when you have these kind of discussions. You know, each, of course, you know, putting the story from their point of view. So when former President Jonathan said that they handed over a decent economy. Now, I just substitute that word so as to show my neutrality, a decent economy, and the Buhari administration has now fired back that you did no such thing. On the contrary, you handed over a rubbish economy, even though you had opportunity to really make good. So it's like they might have thought it was something of a cheap shot. All of this, as you know, the equation was against the backdrop of the non-elective convention of the PDP, where the former president, being the leader of the PDP, now in opposition back then, is a key member of the PDP. Your comments, please.
Well, thank you very much. I think one fact we cannot run away from is that former President Goodluck Jonathan, whether we like it or not, has edged his name in history as a president of Nigeria at a point in time. But I think it is very, very important for us to admonish ourselves at this level that it is reprehensible, it is despicable for people who have occupied sensitive position in our political history to attempt to rewrite history. I find the comments attributed to former President Goodluck Jonathan as an assault on the collective sensibilities of Nigeria, because the tenure of President Goodluck Jonathan is still fresh in our memory. And you recollect that one of the reasons why a lot of us were very bitter and we played our little roles in mobilizing Nigerian people that no, never again will we have such an administration whereby impunity was the order of the day, where officials of the government were coming out to say one thing, meanwhile the reality on the ground points to the others, to the reverse.
Well, so talk about coming out firing from both, from all cylinders firing.
No, I'm just angry.
Well,
I'm sorry, I'm angry.
Well, I was surprised because pretty strong words. Achike, you know, your thoughts on the assertion and counter-assertion between the two presidential administrations?
Well, ultimately, the people and history will judge. You know, and of course, there's no doubt that the Jonathan administration has been relegated to the, some would say maybe the dustbin of history and all of that. You know, there is no doubt that there were all kinds of infamy and perfidy associated with the Jonathan government. Just like we have had with virtually all the governments in this country, there is nothing new, because these are people that belong to the same political class, you know, and so even every attempt by them to try to put on new robes ultimately will not exactly succeed.
And so you have a situation where even those who are in the present government today, who had played prominent role in the Jonathan government, are also part of the very system too that are also denigrating the past, where they are also coming from. You know, so you ask yourself exactly, you know, where are we where are we coming from? Now, there is no doubt. I mean, if you look at indices, data, and all of that, but you could say that yeah, the exchange rate, for instance, was much better. You know, than what we are having here. Though that could also be explained because if a damage had already been done, the effect of this damage could come in much later. I mean, these are some of the issues. Yes. You know, so no matter you know what, how much President Goodluck Jonathan will want to paint his administration in roses and so on, the facts are also there that the political class in this country at that particular point in time, especially the ruling class or elites, also did their own share of damage to the problem in this country. But then,
I was going to say, we also heard, in the, subsequently, that look, like the people with seeming impeccable credentials that have a worldwide reputation. I'm thinking of the former finance minister, Okonjo-Iweala. I think there were instances where we read that, look, she had actually offered certain advice, advised certain actions, but she was just a minister, and perhaps that advice wasn't necessarily taken. So all of those kind of matters of we had the right people, I don't know if that also factors in to the quality, because I think the former president was trying to put out the idea that his administration was not a shambles. If you just take away opposition comments, that must be from his point of view. It was not a shambles. On the contrary, it wasn't that bad at all. Nobody's administration is going to be perfect. That seemed to be the position he was sort of trying to canvass. But it did seem to be taking the Nigerian public for granted a bit.
Well, the truth of the matter is that former President Goodluck Jonathan, unfortunately, is towing the same line with former military dictator General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, and we're all aware of where history has placed former...
in what regard? One was a civilian, one was a dictator.
Yes, about what they did to the Nigerian people, how they bettered the economy in quotes.
But certainly some were bettered. Some individuals were bettered.
But the essence of governance is not for some,
of course,
but for all. And what we're saying in essence is that, look, no matter the quality that President Goodluck Jonathan, the quality of people you want to claim that President Goodluck Jonathan had in his cabinet. You talked about somebody like former Minister for Finance, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala.
Among others.
Among others. This is a minister that people had touted, a world-class economist. But she presided over an economy in which she herself, towards the tail end of the government in 2014, came out publicly and announced to the world that, look, we have been borrowing to pay salaries. This was a minister that had a running battle with two former governors. I'm talking of Governor Adams Oshiomhole, as well as Governor and now Minister for Transportation, Chibuike Amici, in which Amici said the reason why they refused to save under President Goodluck Jonathan was because of the fact that between President Goodluck Jonathan and Okonjo-Iweala, they could not account for previous savings. And I'll give a vivid example. Dr. Chibuike Amici said, if, assuming this month, we come to the fake meeting, and we say, okay, let us put aside $5 billion, such that next month, if we have a shortfall in allocation distribution, we'll be able to augment the shortfall we have this month from the reserves we have kept. Only for them to come to a meeting in the preceding month. And when they asked the minister, Madam Minister, please can we have part of that money we kept with you last month? The minister will tell them the money is no more. And when they will probe further, she will claim Mr. President told her to dip her hand in that money. And they were like, how can you dip your hand in a money that belongs to all of us, because that money does not belong to only the federal government. It belongs to the states.
And all of this had some effect on the economy.
On the economy.
On the economy. And it's the economy we're talking about, and that's what drew the ire of the Buhari administration.
If you ask me, I think Jonathan, you know, he's a politician. Do not forget that. Like you said, you described him as the PDP, or, I mean, the leader of the PDP.
In his time.
And in his time. And he has not stopped being a politician. And so politicians would always take cheap shots of whatever it is. But the reality is what we are seeing today.
Thank you.
Yes.
But don't forget that the whole context was PDP sort of announcing itself that it's gearing up to get ready, and it was quite upbeat and optimistic to take over in 2019 if given a chance. Now, proceeding along that line is where they're providing this supporting evidence.
Good.
So I'm looking at how gullible they think Nigerians are.
In the context of the elitist politics they play in this country, like I've said, they're all the same. There is no difference. Ultimately, at the end of the day, PDP, APC, and the rest is the same class.
Of course, you know, both parties will take serious exception to that statement. APC is going to take exception to the statement. PDP is going to take exception to the statement.
I'm ready to debate that with any of them any day. It's a class of people
that there's scant little to choose between Nigerian political parties, right?
Motivated by the same kind of whatever moribund ideological compass that they have, you know, the same kind of greed, the same kind of selfishness, the same lack of patriotism.
But surely this Buhari APC administration is different.
Well, it is different. I mean, we didn't have light during the Jonathan administration. We still don't have light. The healthcare infrastructure during the Jonathan administration, you know, was moribund, was bad. It is what we're having today. You know, in terms of road infrastructure, it is what we're having, you know, during the Jonathan administration. There's not been any visible improvement. Ultimately, it is the same product.
But how about the whole issue of corruption? The way corruption was seen and perceived and participated in the previous administration, perhaps you see that it's not quite a free-for-all.
Do not forget,
as then.
There's a saying that usually in every generation, when wars have been fought and so on, it's always the generals, the victors that write the narratives of the war. So, I mean, this is the APC because the government, they are writing this narrative today. And, I mean, all of these things happened. There's no doubt that there was so much looting in this country. I mean, we cannot, I think we'd be uncharitable not to acknowledge the kind of perfidy, like I said before, that happened under the previous administration.
And it was at the root of many of the other problems that you enumerated.
The possibility, but also that one also had inherited problems too. And we've had about over 50 years of independence, and virtually all the governments in this country have contributed to the ruination of this country, including the period of military dictatorships. So all of this is we have. So the reality is
this,
that
therefore, is the Herculean task that the Buhari administration took upon itself to try and address.
You see, I would have said
not solve, but they're going to start
when this topic started. I would have said
punching at it.
When this problem, I mean, this issue, program started, and you came up, I mean, the topic and all of that, I would have said, oh, are we still crying over spit milk? The reality is that the APC, more than the PDP, is not even in a position to make statements like this. Of course, you might denigrate the statement that Jonathan made. I have no problems with that, because they also contributed to the problems of this country. But the APC did not know about some of the revelations that we're knowing to. The APC told us about it. The APC said this was the problem with the country. And the APC took it upon itself to take up the challenges, sold themselves to the people and said, we are capable of doing this. We can take you out of the woods. So 2 years down the line, going to 3 years now, we don't expect them to keep on making this statement. But I said it's all about politics.
Well, make what statement?
For the Jonathan.
What do you mean? Because when you got to, I thought you were going to say something like, 2 years down the road, you've not seen any difference in the whole battle against corruption. So that's what you're...
For the corruption, that's why I said the narrative is being written by the APC, the party in power today. There's a possibility, and I also said, look, so much happened in this country. Corruption, all of that. There's no doubt the Jonathan administration manifested a lot of corrupt tendencies. But beyond that, maybe perhaps when in 2019 another party takes over, we might also see the same narrative being written about this government. These things are possible.
Okay. Thank you very much, Achike. I agree with you. But what do you think, Nelson? Because Achike seems to be saying something along the lines of, look, from the beginning, the history, of hunting has always been written by the hunter. It would be good now and again to see it from the point of view of the lion, for example, who is the hunted. So I understand what he's saying, but what do you think of that very notion that, look, the way it's being put and it's putting the person who is making the statement, in this case the political party, in a favorable light. Is it more than that? Is that a fair assessment?
No, I disagree totally with my friend here, Achike, because the facts are there on the table. You talked about corruption now. Look at the issue of the security funds that the former National Security Advisor was alleged, to have disbursed for purposes other than what they were budgeted for.
Now, that kind of thing is inconceivable in this administration,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
I would guess. I'm not part of it, but
Well,
I'm not part of the administration.
And even as at that, these so-called allegations that we are talking about, the people who themselves were beneficiaries came out publicly. I'll give a vivid example. Olisa Metu, the former PDP spokesman, said he was given 400 million. Olisa Metu, the former PDP spokesman, said he was given 400 million naira. For what? He said he didn't know that the former president gave it to him.
There was even one for spiritual purposes.
Yes,
Bafarawa. We were all
witnesses
we were
to
all
this.
laughing at the time, but it's very, very
These are reality.
There have been allegations about Buratai.
Yes.
This administration.
Yes.
Babashir Lawal.
Yes.
This administration.
Yes.
Serving.
Yes.
And so on. So these are the things about the reality.
So that's what
is
you
this.
mean by
No,
saying
yes,
that, look, both of them.
The reality is this, that if you have the same kind of people with the same mentality, in the PDP, all jumping ship to the APC, do we expect that automatically, the orientation of these same people have changed? Do you understand? So these are the issues. So
it's a component. It's a component of the discourse.
Yes, exactly.
But it's not all of the discourse.
No, it's not all of the discourse. But that will not take away from what the government has been trying to do. Otherwise, like I said, it will be uncharitable in terms of the fight against corruption. So you must look at it from both sides.
Exactly.
One is not exonerating the previous administration, and there is no basis for such an exoneration. We cannot do that because we all saw some of the things that happened, and they are being manifested today. Also,
now you're talking about you're talking about elitist politicians dealing with elitist perhaps receivers of their message. And
neoliberal economic policies that have continued to undermine the Nigerian nation.
Now, you see, all these neoliberal, all these elite politicians and all this kind of thing, those are not the people that get a political party into power. It's the real people, the base of this pyramid.
It's the supposition.
That's where the power comes from.
Yeah, it is the supposition.
Now, what do you think, how do you think the PDP spokespeople that spoke on that Saturday convention, might they be seen to be taking the Nigerian people for granted with some of the ideas that they seem to be floating? Among others, they said that they are poising themselves to come back and take back power. And then do what Nigeria needs, what Nigeria wants, what Nigeria deserves. You must think of having a very trusting audience to be putting that kind of stuff out.
I think what the PDP is trying to do is to play on the intelligence of Nigerians. Because for one...
Is it a doable project?
Well, that is left for the Nigerian people to decide for it, because they will not get it.
Because they've been through it for how many years? We keep talking about how many, 18, 19 years? 16 years.
16 years.
16 years.
And their reign is still fresh in the minds of the Nigerian people. So for me, I find it very insulting for a political party to tell you, we want to, dislodge the ruling party. Ordinarily, you expect them to say, oh, Nigerians, we are sorry, we failed you in the past.
Some people have demanded an apology.
Of course, that's what I expect. They should be responsible and civil enough to realize that the Nigerian people are no fools. No, Nigerian people, we are sorry, we failed you, it's part of the human failings. Come 2019, this is our plans. We are promising you, we promised you before 5,000 megawatts, we were unable to do that. But this is the roadmap to a 10,000 megawatts. If you give us the chance again, we can, we have turned a new leaf. That is what one should expect.
Okay, that's your point of view. Achike.
Yes, yeah, you want to say that.
You give me some sort of perspective on this, because I'm well aware that those in that PDP convention must have believed the stuff they were putting out, and then then perhaps more than a few outside of the convention as well.
Do you know why they have the temerity to be courageous enough, as you have hinted?
Okay,
it's because of what they see on the streets of this country today, which some of them have also contributed to. the penury, the poverty, the mass unemployment, and all of that. All of these things are no longer an indictment of the PDP government of Jonathan. It is an indictment of the representative
Even though
government.
it is flowing from there.
Yes, even though it's flowing from there, it is an indictment of the present government, because that is the essence of presenting yourself before the electorate, that we know the problems you are going through. We know, we feel it, and we are in a position to solve these issues. And so the problems, regardless of where it is coming from, have multiplied over the years in this country, the past 2-3 years, and so on.
What with the multiplier effect and all of that?
Exactly. So all of these things have continued. And so if the APC government, for instance, tells you that they are not jittery, you know, if the APC government tells you that they are not jittery about what is going on today, then something is wrong, because they are politicians. Just yesterday, somebody posted on my timeline, I think WhatsApp or so, that McCarthy and 10 of his commissioners have decamped from the APC.
No,
Kwankwaso, thank you very much, from the APC to the PDP. Now, the movement, the mass movement, or the exodus, is from the PDP to the APC. Why do they have the boldness and the temerity at this particular point in time to want to move back to the PDP? And the only response I made was cryptic. I just said they are going back home. And that is the way it ended. So that is the reality, you know. So
okay, interesting proposition. Yeah. But you see, this is very, very serious here. This is the future of our country here. This is what you guys have been at pains to sort of put out there, that look, elections are tremendously important. Don't be apathetic about it, because it's our, you guys deliver that sermon every time.
This is the issue. You see,
you guys deliver that sermon every time.
Against the PDP before now had been high, sky high, if I will put it this way, while the zeal and the exuberance and the and the joy of having an APC in government was also high there. But what is going on is that as that of the APC reduces because of their inability to deliver on promises they made to the people, the popularity of the PDP, because Nigerians have shown also that they have a short memory.
So the popularity of the PDP is what? On the rise?
Yes.
You think it's on the rise?
No. Well, let me just put it this way. Maybe not exactly popularity, but the fact that they are blaming somebody else for the present woes, they will look for the next alternative, even if it is not the best alternative. Okay. So the APC must try to get its house in order. The APC must begin to deliver on the promises it made to the Nigerian people.
I can imagine.
Nobody will accept
them
telling us stories after 2-3 years that it is because of the Jonathan administration's faults that that Nigerians are suffering. It will no longer be acceptable. For the first 6 months, 1 year, Nigerians accepted it and agreed with them.
Indeed.
But we don't want to hear that anymore.
Fine. And no doubt, look, most people, rightly or wrongly, will think that, let's face it, PDP is in shambles. And it is only trying to get itself together. Definitely. And so making these kind of sounds, some people are willing to credit with no more than, well, it's bluster. I mean, they have to say something, no matter how logical or coherent it is.
Wow. Strange things have happened in this country.
Okay, let me take Femi, who wants to join this conversation in from Sundere. Good morning, Femi.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Good morning, your fellow.
Good morning, Femi.
Panelists. What I want to say is that we knew where we are coming from, and we know where we are, and we know the problem. We knew how we got to this stage, and what I can say is that we have given PDP 15 good years to do something for us. It took them more than 14 years to construct Ibadan-Ilorin road, and the road was not completed for that 12 years. What we are seeing in this administration, we are seeing steps being taken. We are seeing steps being taken, and we are seeing it as right steps. If you look at it, Lagos-Ibadan road, as of now, when that road is being constructed, we are seeing problems. That's the same thing that we're lacking to what the situation we are now. You can go on that road, you may not get to Ibadan within 5 hours. But we saw the job is going. And by the time that job is completed, we'll be happy. So the same position we are now, we are still trying to do the repairs. When the repairs is completed, we will see the result. PDP was there, they met 3.5, and at the end of the day, we are still going with 3.5. Projects that are supposed to take 3 years, last was almost 12 years. So those are the things which what we are seeing in this administration, they are really following things up. And by the time the end result will be good. That's the way I look at it.
Thank you very much for calling in, Femi. Appreciate your call. The presidency, in responding to
former President Goodluck Jonathan.
Well, former President Goodluck Jonathan's optimistic remarks, to put it discreetly, had said, and let me quote a newspaper article, there is nothing to show for the revenues earned in that time. No major capital project was completed, neither power generation, road development, rail, nor agriculture benefited from the windfall earnings. Rather, the administration presided over the diversion of oil revenues on such a massive scale that even without the proliferation now accorded to whistleblowers, the then central bank governor blew not only a whistle, but a trumpet. Of course, we know what he's referring to there.
Yes.
And it goes on to explain for whoever doesn't know the story, or maybe he's not a Nigerian, maybe he wasn't living in Nigeria, that he was subsequently hounded out of office and all of that. I want us to sort of concentrate a bit on the people, because all of this is for the consumption of the people who are their voters. Those are the guys that they're going to be carrying their message to. Femi has just called in and he's given his perspective. Achike has said that you have to be very, very careful when you want to evaluate the Nigerian person and his mind as it relates to these kind of things. Would you agree that it's not a cut and dried affair, you know, and a slam dunk as to, because we've suffered so long under an administration, people understand not to put back that same person, that same political person, that same party, not to put them back in State House. Are you sure that people understand how important that is? And is it important?
Yes, I believe strongly that the Nigerian people, like every other people all over the world, have the memory to still refresh what has happened to them in the last 17 years of our civilian rule.
Could you just hold it there, please? Forgive me, I apologize. But let me take Ni, who called in from Yaba. Good morning, Ni.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Well, I want to react to former President Goodluck Jonathan's statement.
Sure.
It is very, very, what can I say, it's very, very uncalled for, and it's supposed to be the PDP people supposed to be remorseful. They're supposed to be on their knees 24/7 begging Nigerians for the wrong they have done. And there's an adage in Yoruba that says that they are calling you a thief, that is another man's goat. And you cannot change your character, you cannot change your attitude. PDP, they don't have anything to offer. And it's quite unfortunate I just played on the intelligence of Nigerians. How can Jonathan will come out and be saying what kind of a thing? They have good economic minimum of ground, and what they have is they don't have anything to write home about. They should start begging Nigeria that they are sorry. That because what the harms they have done to Nigeria, that's what we are passing through now. No job, nothing you can think of. All the pieces of economy have been destroyed by Jonathan. You should just shut up and keep quiet without talking. And I don't blame him. If he's as pulling his head in the click now, he will not be saying what he's saying. It's because the PMB have been very lenient to him. Because he should just keep his mouth shut. He doesn't have anything to offer. Sorry, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for calling in. Okay, we'll take a break now. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, and so sorry about that break. We had to take that short break. It turned out to be longer than it usually is. But we're back, and we're looking at reactions to former President Goodluck Jonathan claiming that the economy was in pretty, decent shape when he handed it over. That has been hotly disputed, and you were going to go, because I wanted to, you heard Femi say that, look, essentially what Femi was saying, that we're not fools. We've been through this for 16 years, and so it's like we know right from left. Let me put it like that. Yeah. We know our right from our left. So that's one reaction. But if this is the message that the PDP, in essence, is going to have to take to the electorate come 2019, one just would imagine that they'll need a few more, shall we say, arrows in their quiver, if indeed they want to be successful.
Well, the truth of the message also is that we ourselves, as members of the society, we need to remind ourselves of where we are coming from. Agree that we might not be where we want to be. Agree that the Buhari administration might not have been able, to deliver on its, promises, holistically. But the truth of the matter is that, like I tell people, people act as though the people you have put in government are messiahs, that they are magicians, that immediately the man steps into office, everything will just change and it becomes El Dorado.
But comrade, not that one is one has not been hired by the ruling party to speak for it. They have people who can do that much more effectively. Yeah. It is also a fact that those who started off being ardent fans have gotten impatient, and in recent times have begun to say that, you know what, I made a mistake.
Yeah. Yes, it is part of human nature that, on a journey, some people, before they take some few steps, will become so weary and disenchanted. So it is not unlikely. They don't have the sustaining power.
The heart to stick with it.
Yes.
Halfway into the tenure of the administration. Yes. Halfway in.
Yes.
I mean, if by halfway in you're still feeling despondent.
Yori, I can tell you clearly this morning that except we are not being realistic with ourselves, if you know what went into the Nigerian system before the assumption into office of President Muhammadu Buhari, honestly, you'll be prepared to wait and, play your own role, because whether we like it or not, as citizens, we also contributed to this mess we are in, and a lot of us are still doing that. The electorate, when election comes, a lot of us believe our own dividend of democracy can only be obtained on election day. You are not prepared to, you are not realistic enough to acknowledge the fact that your economic destiny is determined by the political decision you make. So it is very, very imperative on us to educate our people that if you say because somebody is inducing you, or because somebody is from your part of the country, or because he worships in the same religious institution with you, that means you are mortgaging your economic destiny for the next 4 years.
Okay, thank you, Wale in Jos, for holding on. Good morning. I hope I haven't lost Wale yet. Good morning, Wale in Jos. I'm so sorry, Wale. I'm really sorry. Wale, if you'd like to try again to get back in, I'll interrupt even myself mid-sentence. Please try again, Wale. So sorry about missing Wale from Jos. Achike, as I said, because I saw you nodding, it is true that quite a number of people who started out being ardent supporters are beginning to say that, look, you're halfway in. This is at halftime. But even though it might be ridiculous to make the football analogy, at halftime, and there's still no score, it doesn't mean that the preferred team is not going to win.
Yeah, there's a favorite saying.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
There's a favorite saying among football enthusiasts that it's not all over until it's over.
There you go.
I think that is what you're referring to. But I think...
okay, let me take Mr. Olatunde Ikeja. Okay. I'm sorry. Good morning, Mr. Olatunde.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Very wonderful topic this morning, but I always feel ashamed when I see a Nigerian nationalizing credibility about any performance of a government. What we have now is not about PDP or APC. Everybody is suffering. When the former president came out to say he did well, I think it's an insult. And when somebody like Mr. Achuke, somebody I respect so much, but today I still disappointed me. When he was talking about exchange rate, for God's sake, I'm not an economist. exchange rate will be determined by the level of productivity. During the former regime, rather than building up our productivity, they were depending only on oil. And if you look at the price of oil there, it's very, very easy to at least to make sure that our naira was able to get to where it was supposed to be. Then when this government came in, I'm not an APC, when this government came in, we knew what happened. How the price, the only commodity we continue to rely on went down. How can we expect that we are not exporting, we are only importing? It is through export. How do we expect that the naira value, will go up? It doesn't happen. And thirdly, you see, when we keep on rationalizing, yes, Jonathan government stole 10,000, Buhari is 12,000. It doesn't solve this problem.
Yes, but Mr. Babatunde, to be fair, nobody has rationalized any wrongdoing on this program. If you're talking about
no.
Since we started this program,
Mr. Yori,
okay.
You see that from Mr. Chuze. I don't know whether I got the name very.
Yeah, you did.
Achike Chude, yes, you did.
He said, just listen to me, Mr. Yori. He said, yes, PDP, he accepted that they did what they are not supposed to do. They ruined the economy of this country. But in the same regime, the same thing is happening. That is not how to address our problem. Let us criticize those that have not been doing well. Tomorrow, if APC too they found they found one thing, then but now we say, Obasanjo stole 10 million, Jonathan stole 15 billion. That is not how we can't continue like this.
Okay, but Mr. Babatunde, finally, it seems to me that the PDP message that went out, are you buying? They're selling. Are you buying?
It's an insult. You see, let me tell you, Mr. Yori, by 2019, the dynamics will change. Excuse me. They are just deceiving themselves, and they are insulting us.
All right, then. Thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate your call, Mr. Babatunde. I interrupted you.
I think you were talking to him. Okay.
No, you were the person I was talking to, and it was, I think, about...
No, I was the one. Now, you were making allusions to the football pitch.
Yeah, the football analogy.
I was?
And I reminded you that there's a saying that it's not over until it's over. Yes, and you see, the reality, I just felt that my friend here, very good friend here, was also in a way being hard on Nigerians in the sense that when we were talking about timelines,
yes,
he was talking about 2 years. That was what made you make that comment. Yeah,
the halftime comment.
And the reality is that Nigerians have seen too much. Over 50 years of various governments, whether military dictatorships or civilian dictatorships and the rest. And the product or the output has always been the same. They have always been given opportunities. Whether, we started with the PDP says this 16, 17 years of, unbroken democracy and the rest, and so on. So one of the things that Nigerians, I think, should learn is to be wary of false promises, to be wary of governments who come in and say they are going to do this. You must, from the very beginning, while you expect that the government, the incoming government will be up and doing, you also expect that the people themselves should be up and doing in taking up issues of governance from the very inception. You do not wait till things have gone irredeemably bad, then the people will begin to agitate. And so, because the essence is to constantly put the political class, especially the ruling class, under pressure at all times. Whether they are doing well, even when they are doing well and you have to commend them, you commend them, but you tell them they've not done enough yet. You understand? You must put them on their toes. You understand? Because that is the only time...
I'm sorry. Okay. Mr. Das calling in from Zaria, if I got that name correctly. Is it Das?
Zaria. Das from Zaria.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Das.
Yeah, good morning.
Is that the correct spelling?
D-A-Z, yes.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I want to congratulate you guys for a very good work you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
I want to add my own comments to it. The Nigerians we have today are very short-lived in their memories, and so they don't even remember what happens in this country. I want to talk to most of us. The problem is not this political party. It is not the platform for which they stand. It is the elitist policies that they operate.
Yeah. Okay.
Amechi was in PDP last 3 years ago. Today is in APC. The governors jumped from one party to the other. when they are doing their things, they don't remember us. Today it is PDP talking this, tomorrow it's APC saying that. We should now realize that it is not the party, it is the people. We should look for people that are for us and work with them, not what this one and that one is talking.
Thank you very much, Mr. Das. I wondered how to understand that. Is he saying that good people will always do a good job?
A good driver in a bad vehicle. Mm-hmm. I think it is difficult because we practice party democracy. Mm-hmm. The party is the vehicle of the candidates. That's no matter how good a man. That's my difficulty in understanding. Yes, so I have a problem. I think it is important for us to engage the parties, to adopt principled ideological stance.
No, but you see, these parties have those stands, but I don't know, APC was in a peculiar situation. It had its nice philosophical or ideological positions, all of that was done, but then it needed the numbers, and to get the numbers, it had to begin to invite people that weren't of its own, shall we say, people that weren't cut from the same cloth. Well, so we have Ashoke on one part, there's Ankara on another part, there's Teru in another part, and you patch on one part, there's Ankara on another part, there's Teru in another part, and you patch it all together, and you're still trying to say you have the strong fabric with which to move forward. And that is part of the problem, perhaps.
Yes, because, a political party is made up of people of different interests and tendencies. But the party must have an underlying philosophy that when you become a member, mm-hmm. or you aspire to become a member, you have to subscribe
to those values.
But unfortunately, we operate a system today that even some individuals...
If you could see the satisfaction with which Achike is smiling, it's like the Igbo people who talk about the cat that got the milk. Let me bring someone in else. There's another person on the line. Yakub, Mr. Yakub, good morning, sir.
Yeah, Shifyori, good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in.
And then good morning to the two gentlemen in the studio.
Good morning, Mr. Yakub. Good morning.
Yeah, Shifyori, I think this is an insult to the highest orders in Nigerian citizens for the former government to come out in person of GEG to telling us that the problem we find ourselves today is created by this present government. You see, Shifyori, it is unfortunately, if you could remember, the peace committee before the election 2015, I think for me, they did some secret meetings. If not, I think by now the former president should be where he's supposed to be. I think you guess right in the studio. You know why I say so? You see, I'm very happy that there is an organization called SERAP went to court and then mandated the federal government, present government, that they should name the people that stole the Nigerian West. But up to now, I don't know why the federal government are still keeping those lists to themselves. You see, Shifyori, I want to know that, and I believe before 2019, all this name will be coming out, and then Nigerian people will be shocked. You know why? If the people in the former government can steal so much money in the person of a single person, that woman, which everybody knew, that I don't want to mention her name, in the under watch of the GEG. See, Shifyori, for me, how do you think if their former government still remain in the office for at least 6 months, what will happen?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Yakub, because they actually answered your question saying that it is not true that the economy would have ground to a halt had they remained in office. In fact, quite on the contrary, they were on the way to making amends, I think was the idea that they wanted to put out. They talked about being the largest economy. People have queried the indices with which that idea was floated, but there's all of that. Now, but gentlemen, having said all of this, nobody doubts that APC, as the ruling party, needs a vibrant opposition.
Definitely.
They need opposition.
Yes.
It can't all be going their own way. There has to be a vibrant opposition to prefer alternative solutions and so on. Do what opposition does. But if this is PDP's effort in that direction, I personally think that they probably need to look for some other points that are probably less divisive and not as contestable as these ones.
Yeah, but you do not forget that it is said, I mean, from from Goebbels, the former Minister of Propaganda, War Propaganda, in Hitler's Nazi Germany, that when you repeat a lie often, it becomes the truth.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to keep on harping on it.
Okay.
You understand? Perhaps there are people, maybe with short memories, who will begin to believe that, look, where they are today is worse off than where they were yesterday.
But no party can
you
exist on a lie.
Yeah, no.
You know, because a lie that Nigerian people don't need to research. They don't need to research.
Human structures
you have a right to live in
human
self-delusion.
structures and institutions sometimes are built on lies.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. Let me quickly nip over to Abeokuta, where Mr. Ade is waiting to join this conversation. Good morning, Mr. Ade.
Hello, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning to your invited guest.
Good morning.
Yes. One thing that I always want people to know is that people don't learn from history because history teaches nothing. If the past administration should come on air now or come and tell us that they have done very well in the last administration, why in the first instance did we voted them out? Why do we bring in the new administration? Before they can compare their administration with the current one, let this current administration spend close to 10 or 15 years as well, too, so that we can put the card on the table. But for them to come and be telling us now that they've done very well and be telling us, that's why I said history teaches nothing. People don't learn from history. So that's why all these things. Day, what he was saying, I could understand. Because most of the times now, when you talk on the phone or on the current programs of this nature, first of all, people will check your names.
Yes.
That maybe if you're a Yoruba man now, maybe you tilt towards the APC. If you go against the APC, you are an Igbo man. It has always been the case. Because check it, even on the social media, you will see people who blind and just follow the ethnic line. And that's what you are still facing up to now. At the same time, too, the APC, they need to even chop their sleeve. They are not doing too well presently. I see all the people that, going to England to go and be shaking hands with the PMB. Is that our problem? Let the acting president to do very well and put the economy on the right track. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
Thank you, Mr. Ade, for calling in. So I was on the point, I interrupted you, I was on the point of a vibrant opposition is desirable, indeed is wanted. You see, and as of now, we don't have that.
Yeah, it is critical because you see, one of the criticisms against the PDP as it started falling apart was the fact that PDP is a very useless party, and now they've exposed themselves. That this is the time we need a party that can, checkmate the APC. But the reality is that, if some of us believe, that it's same of the same, whether PDP, APC, they might contest that, like you said, they are free to contest that. Then we need to begin to look for our salvation outside of the two main political parties that we have in this country, the PDP, the APC. If need be. So the people themselves need to organize, and that has been the biggest problem,
what do you think? I think, interesting idea that's just been floated. If people have their dissatisfactions with one or the other party, theoretically you can always bring in a third party, fulfill all the conditions, and indeed you'll be floated. But do you see something like that happening?
Well, it is not impossible. It's a good idea that we can work on, and in years to come we can bring to fruition. But the reality on ground today is such that is an equivalent tax.
Okay.
Because of the fact that a lot of us, when we join political parties, we have not imbibed the culture that political parties should be owned by the members.
Didn't Labour Party try that?
Pardon?
Didn't Labour Party try something like that?
No, they didn't.
Okay.
Okay. We believe somebody should just come, put down the money when we sit down to discuss party issues, and when we want to go, we're expecting to take from the
And that's why you have so many people wanting to go into politics.
Yeah. So
up and down
it is
the
not
line.
about service, committing your resources, but rather about what can I get. So we need to reorientate the people from that mindset.
So and if you just give me 30 seconds, I know Babatunde had expressed some disappointment in my position, but the reality, what I was trying to say is neither the PDP nor the APC. Anyone that undermines the economy of this country, that undermines the Nigerian nation, accidentally or whatever, willfully, should the same punishment also should be meted to them.
Okay.
So corruption, whether it's in the PDP or the APC, must be condemned in its entirety.
I don't think anybody is going to say that in the APC of today, corruption is being condoned.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody is going to go that far.
Yes.
There might be other things in which they think that maybe you could do a lot better. But thank you very much, Achike Chude, public affairs analyst, and Nelson Kujimi, rights activist and social commentator.
Thank you very much.
That's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. Till then, I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.